In Mexico, many children go to work every day. The problem doesn't only lie in that fact, but in why we have normalized this situation. In Mexico, more than 3 million girls, boys, and teenagers work, and we haven't stopped it. The Constitution doesn't allow it, yet reality continues to a shock different face.
At the national level, a survey by INEGI, National Institute of Statistics and Geography, by its acronym in Spanish, in 2023 showed that in the country there are around 36.2 million children and 3.7 million of them work. And globally, the situation is better. According to data from an article of World Vision Mexico, our country ranks second in child sexual exploitation and first in a child pornography consumption. These statistics force us to comfort what we don't want to see. Mexicans have normalized child labor because we grow up wearing phrases that parents have repeated for years. For example,
That's how they learn the value of money. It's better for them to work than be on the streets. Or, I worked as a child and nothing happened to me.
It has been justified and turned into part of daily language as a symbol of effort and self-improvement. But behind that so-called lesson are lost childhood, broken dreams, and violated rights. Normalizing child labor means keeping inequality and denying children their rights to a full, happy child. Of the 3.7 million working children, 2.1 million are in dangerous occupations and 1.9 million do inappropriate domestic work. And what did Mexico do? Portrayed it as a joke or a comedy act, not as what it truly is, a social problem.
Mexican television has produced shows like El Chavo del Ocho or La Rosa de Guadalupe, programs that research millions of Mexicans every day, showing reality with aspirational ideas like if you work hard, you will success. Meritocracy guides the Mexican minds. When child labor is ridiculed, it is seriousness and the harm. It stops them from going to school and having a happy childhood. Making jokes about it can make people forget how terrible it is, and we must start treating child labor as the serious problem it is. So we can help children and have dignified childhood. Meritocracy is a system in which positions of responsibility and power are awarded based on personal merit, such as talent, effort, or achievements, rather than wealth or social class. Although the principle is those who work harder and more talent success, it is criticized for presupposing a certain social inequality, since the starting point is not the same for everyone.
If we talk about local problems, this also happens in Querétaro, even though it is the sixth state with fewer working children. The number is still growing, around 38,000.
we also know that the statistics don't match the reality in Querétaro, since really the reports of child labor are few. However, most cases are empirical because there are not registered complaints.
Lo primero sería el trabajo adulto precario y que eso impulsa a que los niños, niñas y adolescentes puedan observar que hay necesidades en casa que se tienen que satisfacer y que puede ser como un impulso propio o un impulso que viene de los padres o del otro para decir, métete a trabajar, ayúdanos. Entonces creo que la pobreza, hablando a nivel macro, a nivel nacional y obviamente a nivel local. Si bien sabemos que Querétaro ha crecido muchísimo en los últimos años, es un lugar donde la migración es una característica y dicen que aquí hay trabajo, yo diría, estamos entendiendo por la frase en Querétaro hay trabajo. Y esto digo,
Family factors, like the need to help with the family's economy, especially when adults don't have a job, earn little money, or when parents are sick or injured. It's also very common that work is seen as something passed from generation to generation. If parents or grandparents work as children, or if the family owns a business, the child is expected to continue it. Because of this, many children grow up with low educations, health problems, and see their rights violated. All these situations bring different kinds of violence and take away their chance to live a real childhood.
What are sanctions for parents or guardians who force children to perform child labor?
Sus sanciones pueden ir desde multas hasta la pena de cárcel, dependiendo de la conducta que hayan realizado los tutores. Por ejemplo, si simplemente fueron omisos en cuidar a su niño, puede ser una multa, pero si ellos son los que están activamente explotando al menor, en este caso sí se encontraría en una pena privativa de la libertad.
Emiliano Sanchez and Eduardo Lopez, who are lawyers, also spoke to us about the laws, which stipulate that it's minor if working. They are entitled to benefits. The only difference is that legally they can only work 6 hours and in place that don't put their well-being at the risk. For example, it is questionable to have young people aged 15 to 17 working in bars, nightclubs, or heavy industries factories.
de manera teórica, un trabajo forzoso o explotación infantil tiene que ver con lo que nosotros vemos precisamente en los semáforos, en la venta ambulante, porque eso no se estipula como un trabajo. ¿Por qué no se estipula como un trabajo y es más bien forzoso? Porque al momento en el que, por ejemplo, están en los semáforos, es un espacio totalmente peligroso para un niño o un adolescente. Es la vía pública, hay muchos autos. Entonces, esas condiciones de seguridad lo catalogan como un trabajo forzoso o explotación infantil, que si bien dentro de también lo que se desplegó en la tesis encontramos que al momento de ubicar cuántas horas trabajan los niños y los adolescentes en la central de abastos, cae también en la explotación. De todas maneras, lo consideramos como trabajo porque es en un espacio más concreto. No estamos anulando que si hay condiciones precarias o condiciones laborales que pues no son aptas, ¿no? Pero enfocando.
June 12th is World Day Against Child Labor, but beyond a date, this should be a daily commitment. Like a society, we should ask ourselves, why are we still normalizing child labor? What are we willing to change to give them back the right to be children? Every action counts. Watch, ask, demand public policies, and refuse to be complicit in the silence.
Eduardo commented in the interview that there are too many cases to address, but they need to be urgent attention cases. This is a very delicate matter when it comes to removing the children from that situation, since these shelters are at maximum capacity and the existing policies are perfectible, meaning they need improvement adapted to current cases.
There's a section on the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare's website where you can file complaints and reports. And honestly, they are very responsive to those complaints.
In these cases, first, if possible, try to talk to the child's parents and understand the reality they face, and if necessary, contact the appropriate authorities immediately. Sometimes we don't consider it, but giving them money or buying them candy only normalize the situation. And second, that money often isn't even for them. There are many stories behind these children and families who take advantage of situation. Seeing a child on the streets is truly heartbreaking, and naturally, what wants to do is help them.
Sin afán de señalar y decir que el Estado con mayúscula es el enemigo o que es el gran protector, tampoco creo que podamos adjudicarle una función tan grande porque pues no puede darle cobertura. Bueno, se supone que sería, sí, debería, pero pues no. Este, creo que lo que se podría hacer más bien tener este cambio en la postura de, en vez de erradicar, más bien regular. Porque cuando hablamos de la erradicación, no digo que sea imposible, pero me parece una visión un poco utópica, fantasiosa, ¿no? Porque si dentro de los marcos legales internacionales ya se hubiera podido erradicar el trabajo infantil, pues no, ya no existiría. De hecho,
The states does ask. However, the existing public policies need updating to more efficient. Furthermore, there are so many cases that the results are invisible. As a society, we need to be better informed to know how act correctly in one of these situations and avoid normalizing it.
Talking about child labor in Mexico means talking about the reality that we see every day but do not really understand. We grow up listening to phrases that justify it, watching TV shows that make it look like a joke or a lesson, and walking in this street where this situation seems normal. This project helps us see that every child who works has a story we don't know. Poverty, violence, family problems, inequality, and government that tries to help, but sometimes does not have enough resources. We also learn that our first reaction, giving money, buying candy, helping, is part of difficult decision. There is no perfect answer for all situations, but we can say something important. What really creates change is not the coin, but reporting the case, getting informed, and not reporting the idea that this is normal in Mexico. Each person decides what to do, but if we can reporting then and asking for better public policies is a really way to protect children. Accepting child labor as something normal means taking away the childhood of millions of kids. We cannot allow that. This project invites us to not stay silent, to look, to question, and to act. No child should work to survive, and no society should get used to saying it.